Good morning. I'm Jocelyn Hamilton, and I'm a speech and swallowing therapist here at Stanford. And um, when we were talking about and through the organization process of who to have for a keynote speaker, Jess Paniagua, who you'll get to hear speak in a moment, came to mind. And so we I feel this way, and I'm sure my colleagues feel this way, that it's an honor and a privilege to walk alongside people and their families as they go through these struggles. And there's a particular type of cancer that can be especially challenging when it's cancer of the larynx or the voice box. And it requires a really drastic surgery when the entire larynx or the voice box is removed. So there's changes to breathing, swallowing, speaking, and appearance with this. And so in working with Jess and in working with Jess's family, this was something where from the start an absolute positive attitude and many sessions of I'm leaving the session and I feel encouraged and I feel uplifted. And so it is just my greatest honor to introduce Jess Paniagua to speak to us today.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank Stanford Medicine for their help. I'd like to thank Jocelyn for inviting me to this symposium. Also, I'd like to thank Dr. Kaplan, who is my surgeon, Dr. Rosenthal. Bear with me, I apologize. Dr. Bake, which is my doctor now, and the one that first diagnosed my cancer, Dr. Wang with Summit. My journey started off with in 2018. I had cancer on my left vocal cord. I didn't know how I got it because I was never a smoker, never have been. I worked construction. I got through it because we did radiation for 28 days. I was fine. The reason I found out was because, of course, I didn't think I needed to go to the doctor. I felt a little hoarse. I lost my voice in May of 2018. I kept pushing it off, pushing it off. I think, okay, it's going to come back. All it is allergies. It's a cold. It's a flu. I waited until September of 2018 till I went to the doctor. When I went, they had diagnosed that I had a cancer on my left vocal. They suggested I do radiation, not chemo, because then I would lose my voice completely. So I said, okay, we'll do whatever we have to. We did the surgery, or I should say we did the biopsy. Then we did the radiation and I was fine. They told me 98% cure completely, 2% it comes back. 2021, it came back. It came back in my voice box this time. I went to my doctor. I said, what do we have to do? They said, well, first of all, we're going to have to remove your voice box. We're going to have to do a larynx surgery. I said, well, how am I going to talk? They said, we have an electrolarynx that you can use to put on your vocal and it'll sound. I go, no. I said, I want to use my voice. I want to be able to be myself. So he said, think about it. Figure out what you want to do and let us know. So I said, okay. My wife and myself left the office. We weren't but maybe 45 minutes to an hour. We went and had breakfast. We talked about it. My wife said, babe, you're sick. Let's take care of it now. All it is a speed bump in your life. Let's do it. She goes, we got this. I said, okay. We called that moment. We called, set up our appointments. They said, okay, we're going to do surgery. I had surgery done. That was my hardest part, was when I woke up. I didn't know what to do. I laid there. I sat there. Didn't know how to speak. because I didn't know what consisted of removing the voice box. Now how am I going to talk? So I hung in there, stood strong, as every one of you folks probably would do. Don't give up. This is your life. This is my life. We have to move on. People say, well, what are you going to do now? I said, I've got to learn to talk. So they wanted to send me back. I said, I haven't been to my speech therapist. I went with Jocelyn Appleton. She told me, she goes, we're going to give you a stoma plate, your base plate, and your filter. She goes, once you start pushing that, you'll be able to talk. She says, do me a favor, push it and say, ah. I did it. Then my wife said, that's his voice. It surprised me because it is my voice. This is how I talk. I've always had a deep voice, but I've always had a love for other people. My thing is to always help others. I've always wanted to reach out and let people know this is not a sickness. This is not something that you have to worry about that has to stop your life. You have to continue. Continue. You have your family. I've had my support from my wife, which is my backbone and my foundation. I have my daughters, my grandkids, my workers at work, my friends at home. That has always been my foundation to keep moving forward. That's what you folks need. If ever you need a person to talk to, I am willing to give you my personal phone number, my email. I will hug you. I will shake your hand, and I will be there to love you. We can get this. As I've always told people, we got this. I don't have it. You don't have it. It's a sickness that's going around often now. It's like a cold and a flu. A lot of people are getting it. But we got this. We together and only together. If you're by yourself, you do have time to think, and you don't need that. You have to move on. You have to continue, support each other, have your family, have yourself, and have something to live for. That's what we are here for. I've talked to guys on social media that are going through cancer. Not so much the same cancer I have, but other cancers, and they're down and out. They're going through chemo. I tell them, I'm here for you. I said, you don't know me, but I'm here to love you. I'm here to pray for you, and I'm here to push you along. Do me that favor. If you ever see anybody with any kind of cancer, my stoma, I've always told people, I felt awkward because during COVID, I would go out and eat. As we had to do, we had to stay distance. There was a gentleman in a restaurant one time. I coughed because I build up mucus in my lungs, which I have to cough out. He turned away from me. But I felt bad for him because he didn't know what I had. He probably thought I had COVID. I said, no. In my head, I'm thinking, I don't have that C. I have the other C, which is cancer I had. But like I told the owner of the restaurant, I apologized because I felt awkward, but I shouldn't have. I should have educated the gentleman. That's what we need to do, and that's what I always try and tell people. At my job, I work for Kaiser. I work construction. People don't realize I can't smell and I can't breathe through my nose and my mouth. I breathe through my neck. I said, people ask me, do you smell smoke? And I said, I couldn't tell you. I said, I can't smell. They're like, what do you mean? I said, I breathe through my neck. I'm a neck breather. I said, I've always got somebody with me in case, because if I can't smell anything, they can smell gas or whatever. But also I tell people, I said, I'm educating you because I have a prosthesis inside that when I block my airway, it comes out and projects my voice through my mouth. I said, that was my biggest goal, was to be able to use my own voice, not some instrument that's going to help me talk. No, I want to be my own person. I said, that's why I want people to know that there are things out there that are new. You know, I had a lady the other day, she asked me about it. And I showed it to her. I'm not afraid to show people. I'm willing to teach people because this is all new. I went a week ago to the doctor. I ended up getting bronchitis because we are more susceptible to getting sick when the cold weather. My doctor at Stanford told me, I'm going to give you a breathing treatment. I said, okay. I said, how are we going to do that? She goes, I'm going to get a mask and put it over your nose and mouth. I go, I got a question for you. I said, but I don't breathe through my nose and my mouth anymore. I said, she goes, what do you mean? I said, I breathe through my neck. She goes, I'll be back. She goes, I got to go figure this one out. So, like I said, everybody is that way right now. It's something new. It's something that we have to educate each other on. I said, you know, like I said, I'm not embarrassed about it. People say, do you feel funny when people look at you? I said, no, I'd like to educate them. Little kids look at me. When I cough, when I talk, they're like, what's the matter with you? I said, nothing. I said, I got sick. I said, gave me something that's different. I said, but I'm okay. I said, I'll be all right. I said, you learn? I said, see this little dot in my neck? They're like, yeah. I said, that's what I talk through. So he says, oh, okay. And that's it. But if we don't teach people, they'll never know. So like I tell folks here, if you're down and out, don't be down and out, please. Call me, email me, find a friend, hold their hand, pray with them. And thank you very much for having me here today, okay?